I'm wearing our newest kit. This one's from Suki. We have several kits now. That's the idea. I want to start wearing Velo Harmony kit. But we're leaving from a different location this morning. And we're going on a different route. We're going southwest to an area we've been to, not quite at Whitehall, but almost. But I want to try some different routes for a change. Also, we're cleaning up our group roles. A lot of people that sign up don't show up for rides. We're going to remove them. And we're going to only add those who have sampled the ride and fit in. There's some people that just are not good for the group. They show up to put on a show. So we're going to be removing those people from the group because they run other people off. It's a group ride, not a bike race. You want to show off, go to a USCF race. People can't seem to get that in their heads. They come to the ride to put on a show. So I'm gonna keep the character of the group the way I like it because I want to enjoy my rides on the weekends. It is usually done by people who've never competed. Because those who have competed, been there, done that, they don't care. They come and they ride. You can't even tell, they're nondescript. It's the posers that want to come and put on a show. Nobody's interested in that. I'm trying to grow this group, so we're going to be making some changes. Going to be keeping our eyes on who's a group rider versus those that come to put on a show. I'm going to let everybody know you need to let them go. And I will make the announcement at the start of every ride. We're going to ride as a group. There is a difference. And so hopefully they'll get it because it's really odd. All the groups are getting to where they're not posting rides anymore because they don't want people to come and bomb and hijack their rides. So we'll see how that goes. But it's not going to stop me from riding. I have no trouble riding alone. That's why the bicycle has one seat.
On this ride, I left Northampton, rode into the Woodlands, picked up the group from Fitness Project. We're heading a different way today, so we didn't start from our usual spot. We went out on 2978 towards Tomball, Texas, past Oklahoma there. Tomball, Texas, right there on the left. We headed out Brown Road, all the way out to Cypress, Rose Hill. Very, very nice, pleasant morning, fair day, mild temperatures. I mean, it was like, the high was like probably 27 Celsius the whole day, about 75. Went past Field Store, all of that's on film. And then we took 362 to Riley Road, got through Fetzer there, Magnolia. We stopped at a store there and then continued on 1774 to 149. It was very windy coming back on 149. Then we took 1488 to wrap up the ride back into the Woodlands. It was a nice change from our usual route, and we're going to start spending quite a bit of time mixing it up and going out west more often. I think you'll enjoy the clips that Paul and I put together for you. We're on the open road. We're in the Decker Cypress area. We're headed towards Field Store. It's another town out west. We went southwest today.
Go ahead, John. I'm going to get people up.
Okay.
That's Clermont Chabousson. Dan Jaworski. We had a very cohesive group today. Periodically, Abby had to go to the front to kind of ask people to back off. A couple of times, I had to tell John, we'll get into a groove, and then they just keep going and forget about who they're riding with and how the others are doing. So you've got to be aware of how the others are faring in your group. So if you're feeling good and you're feeling strong, keep the pace steady as you pull through. Just stay up there longer. I took very long pulls on the ride because I really wanted to work hard. My pulls were averaging at about probably 10 minutes per pull. So if you're not feeling as good when you get to the front, just take a shorter pull. You don't have to compete with the last person that pulled. But this way everybody gets their workout and the group stays together. We had a very, very good group, and it really comes down to the makeup of the group. The participants matter. There are just certain riders that think about me, and they don't care about anybody else. They're not necessarily ambassadors of the sport. So when you run people off, they don't have a reason to come back. Nobody comes to your ride, get up in the morning, put their bike in the car, drive to your ride, start to ride with you. Then you ride away from them to show how fit you are. Why should they come back next week? They can ride by themselves. If you're going to leave them out there, it's one thing if you say, okay, we'll regroup over here or whatever, fine. But none of that's communicated. People just come out and start bombing the rides. You know, it turns people off. People don't say anything. They just stop coming. Which makes perfect sense to me. Paulie Long Guy is on the camera. Took some excellent clips. You saw the guy in the gray truck passing the guy in the red truck. We got a lot of people that will follow us longer than necessary. I mean, it's one thing if you're going to be making a turn or something. That's the guy in the red truck. He was actually holding up traffic because these roads are very quiet. The road was clear, so the guy behind him saw that the road was clear, and you want to sit behind these guys, fine. Maybe you're the pace car, I don't know. He went around him. Abby is at the front. After he takes over, I'm going to do a very long pull. The road we're on, I think it's called Decker Rose Hill or something like that. This area has grown tremendously, but this has always been a cycling route. It's even in one of the books, Cycling the Houston Area, one of the books from decades ago that he used to sell in bike shops with routes in the Houston area for high exercise potential. I got spoiled on this ride because out here, there aren't a whole lot of red lights. A few stop signs here and there, but it's usually nothing. We didn't have to stop. And that's my criteria for a route. Minimal cars, preferably no cars, but that's not going to happen unless you're on a trail. Minimal cars, no stops. And so when we got back to Magnolia, we started encountering traffic lights. I ended up mentioning to Abby, I said, man, I got spoiled out west. We didn't have to stop once. So we're going to be visiting this area more because the roads just go on. And it has a few elevated areas, little bumps, but nothing major. But what it does have, these are the plains. This is the this is farm country. We have a lot of wind, and it was just blowing. I will point that out later. The wind was coming from the north, and it was coming from the right, which is east as you're headed north. I believe we're probably headed west right now. I ended up mentioning to Abby that when he started to pull on this section here, I told him, I said, man, when we get on 1774, in the latter part of the ride, I told him we're going to have a great tailwind if the wind stays like this. And that was the case. So we're headed kind of northeasterly right now. So out here, most of our slowdowns are like this. Two-way stop sign, a little turn, no lights. There are very few lights out here. It's not, the volume of traffic is relatively low. And it's pretty much still rural. you look to the left, you see a lot of, they look like barns or greenhouses or something that we just passed there. But sparsely populated. We're a little, I believe we're north of 99 and west of 290, I think. We're headed towards, maybe we're east of 290, sorry. We're headed closer to, there was a place called Waller County, Prairie View A&M. We end up getting closer to that area, but it is very rural. You do have some true traffic. Look at this day. Beautiful, fair day. There's a storm that came through overnight. It rained heavily until about the wee hours of the morning, but then it dried out. So I didn't put the route out till later in the day because I was hesitant about whether we'd be able to ride. When it's very rainy and you're in a group like this, it's just a lot of spray. It's not a whole lot of fun. It's Dan Jaworski. See how a line is tight? That's the way you ride together. That's why it's called a group ride. Even if you're competing and you get in a breakaway and you start acting a fool, you're going to be riding alone. So you better make sure you're able to sustain where you start. So I've already had a conversation with my brother Paul. I told him in the future when people start doing stuff, we'll just let them go. And let's hold our pace and ride the way we want to ride. Because a lot of times we have people that come, especially last week, we had a similar situation where people showed up. And because they were going so hard the first hour, they started making excuses as the first stop as to why they were not going to continue. So they don't end up finishing the ride. This was not the case on this ride. We all did the full ride, which was in excess of 73 miles. About 117 kilometers thereabouts. So nobody had to make up any stories. We rode together. People took their poles. It was very, very good. It was very cohesive. So if you can find a group like that, it's really nice. And you try to keep that character. Because it's hard to find a group that will meet your needs. People come and use the group to do intervals, which is really anybody who has any kind of cycling sense is a no-no. You want to do intervals, do it by yourself. You come to the group ride to ride with the group. Look around, pay attention. What are they doing? Blend in. Be nondescript. Because you don't know who you're really riding with unless you get very familiar with the group. And then after that, why would you want to kill your group? It's hard to grow a group. The people that come by and try to disturb the group turn me off because they have no idea about how to grow a group and how difficult it is. Because everybody's apprehensive about how the group will ride, so people don't look forward to it. There are a lot of cyclists that don't ride group rides, they just ride alone for the many reasons I've mentioned before. They don't want to deal with all the drama, and sometimes schedules just don't match, you know. So when you get a group, appreciate the group. Don't go in there and try to destroy it. So we have the site called Chasing Watts that I've given to a few people that will come to my shop. The problem is that very few rides are being posted now because people show up at those public rides and ride like a bunch of knuckleheads. So they ruin the character of the ride. So people have stopped posting their rides publicly. They have their little text chat groups that they share their rides on, and they only share the riders who they want to participate. So they're choosing who comes to their ride, which makes sense. And we're going to do the same on our ride. We're going to call the rolls, so to speak. The people who come and act a fool will not be welcome back. They might as well ride by themselves because they're not riding with us. Look at the view. Look at all these trees. There's a little wet in this corner. I think this, if I remember correctly. No, not this one. There's another one. You can see the moisture. The asphalt is still drying from the overnight rains, which dropped the temperature. You see, it's 21 Celsius, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Abby's taking a nice long pull. And this is the way you ride. The group is small. Take long pulls. You'll get the workout, but you keep the group together as opposed to raising the pace to the point where the group fractures. Then you end up riding alone. So then why did you come to a group ride to ride alone? You should have just done your own thing. So I'm sitting on Abby's wheel. I'm in zone 2. When he's done pulling, I go no higher than sweet spot with my effort. I keep the effort the same. I don't change my effort. It's just that now I have no draft, so the intensity goes up a bit, but I'll hold the same effort in the same range. I was very pleased with this route. We rode for like more than half hour before we had to stop for anything. it just seemed like we're just moving along forever. Even Paulie Lunga said, "This is the kind of ride I like, where we're just riding along, no stopping." You see Laura behind me, and you see Clement Chebousan, John Malbrecht. Even though we're relatively in a straight line, we're not directly behind each other all the time. Slight drifts to the left and right. That's what you do. So you don't have to brake. So when I drift one way, Laura's on the other side. Now I'm on the right, Laura's on my left. We can see around each other. Because I think something caused Abby to slow down a little bit. But that's how you brake, by just drifting. It's like you're skating. You use your hips to move the bike, so your moves are gradual. There's a part of this ride where several deer go across the road. One of them clips the fence like he's doing a hurdle and flips, but recovers and joins the rest of the group. You will see that. I did a replay on that. It was kind of cool to see on film. I want to thank Paulie Lunga for excellent camera work. So he says car back. We're going to squeeze a little to the right. We're not really doing an echelon here. There's sections of the road where some of us end up doing an echelon, but it was much quieter. But around here, we want them to pass in the other lane, because it's just very small. There's no room in our lane. See, that's the way it is to safely pass. So even though we're doing single file, we're taking up a good chunk of this lane to where they just move way over. I'm soft pedaling. You see my RPMs in the 50s. I'm soft pedaling. I stop pedaling. So we're slowing down a little bit now. I resume. So whenever I do that, I would drift to the right so the wind can slow me down, so I don't have to touch my brakes. You want to avoid braking wherever possible in the pace line, because it causes the rider behind you to come up on you suddenly. You want to slow down gradually, or just kind of tap your brakes to scrub off a bit of speed when necessary. But most of the time, we use the terrain, the road, drift to slow down. I think we're turning. I think Abby has already signaled. I think after we turn, he's going to pull off. If you look at the map, we're going west towards Austin area. I mean, nowhere near there, but towards Prairie View. This area, there's a cycling club called Northwest Cycling Club. They ride this area often. They've always done that for decades. Even with the growth, these roads are still very cycling friendly. We're out of town. We're in some rural communities. Because in the area where we live, there's so many lights and stop signs, you can't get a workout. The road appears to be going off, yeah, it's at 1.2. And then with the wind, I've dubbed it, but with the wind, we're working. Now we headed mostly westerly, so the wind is not as intense here. It was blowing very stiffly from the north. And these trees are sheltering us. It's kind of a false flat rock. This road is called Butera. Abby rides out here very often. He knows this area very well. We have a group that come out during the week as well. Just a pretty fair day. We're actually experiencing a nice spring in southeastern Texas this year. So I welcome the change in the climate, because normally in May, it's in the 90s and it's humid. That has not been the case this year, so we'll take it. You hear the wind. I kept my RPMs high most of the ride. I ended up averaging about 88 RPMs or something like that, which is high for the whole ride. See, my watts have increased. We must have turned, we turned a different direction to where there are fewer trees, and the grade kicked up a little bit. Ended up going to a town called Fetzer. Been in the area, never knew what it was called. You're gonna have to look at the map. There are no signs that tell you. We're getting better about it. Like in our area, they put up a sign that says "Community of Climb, established 18 blah blah blah, whatever, 19th century." We made really good time. As you can see, we're mostly riding between 20 to 23 miles an hour, something like that. So riding like this and keeping it consistent, you cover more ground faster anyway. Instead of all that erratic stuff people do, speed up and slow down, and the group goes with no rhythm. We're headed mostly close to north now. And this is where Abby pulls off. I think this road is Nichols Sawmill. We're gonna go left. There's a store on the left. We didn't stop there. I'm still learning where the stores are on this route. Because we're gonna come back here, we'll do different things each time. You can come out here all the time and do different things. Some of the similar roads, but you can mix it up.
Another one. Yes, sir.
That was a nice long pull. Everybody got a chance to get into a rhythm. So I take over. When I turn, when the road turns, it starts to go up. The wind hits me, so I focus on the feel. You can see the watts are up. The watts are up because the road and the wind, you know. And so you don't have to get up to 22 miles an hour instantly because you're going to break up the group. So I'm gradually just keeping the effort the same. As you can see, my heart rate is going up because I'm not in the draft anymore. And so you have to kind of get, sometimes it's hard, but you got to gauge the effort. So my goal at the front, like, okay, I'm going to stay here for a while because I want it to work. And so I got to ride an effort that I can maintain for the duration. So I plan to stay up there for about 10 minutes. That was my plan. The group is small. We're riding about 4 hours. So I figure, okay, take a long pull, and when I pull off, somebody else can take over. I'm only doing that because over the last 6 weeks, my program has been normal. That's Abby. My program has been normal so that I'm in better condition now to be able to go up there and do some work and still not, we're going to turn right, not be detrimental to my ride. So we're on a road called Grand Pines. We turn right. And this is Nichols Sawmill. The Romeo group that Abby is in charge of, Laura rides with them during the week as well. They come out here fairly often. They've come out here a few times with them. It's a nice area. They go to another road called Stagecoach. Usually they go the opposite way. But they go further west and then they head back east. Now we've settled into a groove here. The wind is still here. I stay on the hoods mostly, but I keep my cadence above 90 to save my legs. I'm staying close to the white line because the wind is blowing from the right and somewhat in our face. We're going kind of northwesterly right now. The roads around here, they change direction very often. So what you see with these cars going by, passing us, whatever, this is what happens most of the time you ride. But it's the once in a while when somebody acts like a butthead that you tend to remember. Don't allow that to ruin your ride. de-escalate whatever situation, make sure you're not harmed and that you're not at risk, and let that idiot or whoever it is go by and resume your ride. Because the norm is most people go on by their business. They don't bother us. There's even a part of the ride where I don't even know if it's on camera. One truck driver, a bit, you know, like the trucks that haul goods, he blows at us, friendly, you know, Abby waves as he goes by on 362, you know. This cuts through like a neighborhood area. It's calmer than the road we're on a little bit. And so most of the traffic through here is local, meaning they live somewhere out here. And what I was talking about. So even though that guy was passing in the left lane, he actually moved way over in that left lane. He was not even near the yellow line. Most people are trouble-free. So, you know, the rare exceptions tend to cause you to keep that in your mind, but don't let that deter you. I think I'm slowing down or something. There's a stop sign coming up. I'm at least making sure we can see the intersection. So I see that it's clear, and then I'll let them know we can go. I'll put my arm out and think, yeah, at least make sure you're prepared to stop. You're leading the group. Do not lead your group into danger. You're not late for anything. This is the event. Your ride. You're here already. When you're at the front, you're riding for the last rider in your group. Remember that. Just because you can get through an intersection safely, if the group cannot make it, then you stop. So the whole time we've just been moving. I enjoyed it so much. It was like almost 90 minutes of this, and then we got back past Fetzer, and we got into Magnolia, and then we started coming to the lights. I was like, oh, traffic lights. You know, we're back in civilization. I enjoyed it out here. Look at all the trees. And these roads always, regardless of the growth, they will always be like this because these are single family residences. You can see the homes set back from the road. There's nobody going to open up a grocery store here or whatever. They're allowed to build in certain spots. So it's not going to change much, but you know, getting to it and getting from it, yeah, it gets a little busier in the areas where you have more shopping, where people congregate. But out here, it's nice. So you look in your area, you look for these kind of areas where you have private homes, quiet secondary roads, minimal stopping. That's where you can get a good workout at any time of the day, any day of the week. But this is not downtown anywhere. This is out of town. If it weren't for cycling, I'd have no reason to be out here. This road is called Bainbury. If you use the Garmin Connect maps, if you have the free account, they list these kind of roads in purple because a lot of cyclists ride out here from all parts of town. Like I mentioned, the people that live in the southwest side of town, Northwest Cycling Center, or southwest of the Woodlands, but north of other parts of Houston. They come out and they ride out here. They've always ridden out here. When I used to compete, would drive part way and then come out here and ride, because it was very rural from southwest Houston. Right in southwest Houston, we would go to like the West Oaks Mall area off of Highway 6. and go west towards Richmond, Texas, which is rural as well. So there are always quiet roads in between. Regardless of how busy your city is, you can find some quiet roads. Even in downtown, there are certain streets that are quieter than others. You just got to look for it. You got to seek it out. Nobody's going to come give it to you. You got to look for it. That's why I mentioned the Garmin Connect app. You can use that app. It has a map, and it shows you what they call the purple map, the purple lines that shows where cyclists frequently ride. So I'm right at sweet spot. So I stay between 155 to about 165, something like that heart rate wise. The watts mostly about 200 or so. You know, watts jump all over the place. I don't look at it when I ride. It's strictly by feel. I'm making sure that I steer the group by my position. So even though I pointed, I had already glided to the left to avoid those ruts that you see on the right there, where the right tire of these heavy vehicles have, you know, cracked the pavement over time. Because the road is very quiet. I have my mirror. I believe I have the radar. Yeah. So now I pull off. So Laura can take over. I think that was Jaworski that said thanks. Paul says good pull. Yeah, see my watts are high because I'm going to accelerate and get back in the back of the line. So now, after somebody takes that pull, you see how Laura took over and nobody had to get out of the saddle or whatever. This is what I'm talking about. When you come through to take your pull, you should be like a chain, a link in that chain. So you're continuing as if to say the other person didn't even pull off. You keeping the effort the same. I mean, it's harder to do if the road is going uphill or whatever, but what I mean is keep it steady, keep it smooth. We have a lot of riders here in our area don't know how to ride steadily. It's like they have no concept of it, to the point where they will avoid a route just because, oh, this route is too hard for me. Nothing says that you have to ride a difficult route hard. Go and check it out. Put it in a little gear. That's why you got gears on the bike. So we get a lot of those comments, and I don't say anything because I'm like, you know, somebody says, oh, I'm not in the mood for Mount Pleasant today. What's the mood for Mount Pleasant? Mount Pleasant, the road has a lot of rollers. Go check it out. Put it in a small gear. You don't have to ride fast every ride. I mean, I'm riding 18 plus hours a week. I'm not riding fast all the time. My body wouldn't be able to handle it. So we have a lot of riders that think that every time they put their leg across the bike, they got to ride in anger. And those comments let people who know, who are more experienced or have been coached, they know that you don't know how to train when you make those comments. Because if you're riding hard every time you ride, you're not riding often.
That's well said, man.
Because you can't ride hard every day. That's what's his name? Abby making a comment about Democrats. I'm gonna call him a troublemaker.
You're crazy, man.
What did you say?
Something about Democrat. Abby.
He's making fun of Democrats. Every time somebody does something funny or out of the norm, he's, that's a Democrat. That's why I call him a troublemaker. I think I'm gonna come in front of Paul.
About Democrats?
Yeah, with the wind, I didn't hear it very well. That's why I call him a troublemaker.
It's crazy.
I want to thank Paul for filming. I kind of missed that. It's different than when we stick it on the head unit. Even if we do some of this and then later in the ride we stick it on the head unit, it's still better than just sticking it on the head unit and having one view. So Laura basically slipped to the back. Laura is not feeling well. Laura she had like a cold Yeah, some kind of cold, cough, cold, something like that. There's something going around. Everybody's getting a little something. So she's just getting over that. So she didn't pull, on this section, she didn't pull very long. Then there's another section where she pulled for a long time. So Paul was saying, yeah, I didn't expect Laura to be working that hard because she's not, 100%. But she must have been feeling well, And so that's the thing, maybe one part of the ride you don't feel great. You don't have to stay up there. You can see I stayed up there for a while. Abby was there, I was there, and Laura just pulled off right after I pulled off. And I was just behind Paul. Because at this moment, she didn't want to be pulling. Whatever it is going on with you throughout the ride of several hours, your body can change. You can feel bad one time, then later you feel better. Or you can feel great early and then feel bad. You got to listen to yourself the whole ride. Your goal should be to finish the ride. Don't allow your ego to make you do something when you're not feeling great, because you end up hurting your ability to finish the ride strong. You shouldn't finish your rides and be feeling like you wiped out. That means you're setting yourself back. That's unproductive. That means you didn't do the preparation necessary to be able to handle the load you're throwing at your body. You hear the wind, and I've got it dubbed. In a few kilometers, we'll come across the deer. You'll see, it's interesting. We spotted them. There were I think there were 3 of them. Then you'll hear me ask. Abby says everything. At this moment in the ride, my brain just said food. I just started thinking about food. So I immediately reached in my pocket. So whenever it crosses my eye, if I think about food or if I think about water, I go ahead and just take it. It's almost like your brain's telling you need to put something in there. As a habit, every 30 minutes or so, you want to put something solid. This kit makes my legs look huge. My legs are not that big. I think the camera adds weight. It's because, when you wear a black short, I guess that's why people sometimes dress in black. It makes you look thin. But the color on my thighs make my thighs look huge. I'm looking at the picture. I'm like, my legs are not that big. I guess maybe they are anyway. But I don't believe so. I think it's just the camera. Let me look like I'm 10 pounds heavier than I am. I guess that's why they say the camera adds weight. I really like the performance of the kit. Suki did a good job. They made this kit quickly. So I've gotten a lot of requests. I will make a video shortly, bring a video out about the kit with the links where you guys can get some. I got a lot of requests on Instagram. I posted a picture of the kit there, and people want to get copies. So Suki will make custom kits for you or will sell you a copy of our kit. I will have both links when I release the video for the Velo Harmony kit. Suki Cycling. They're really easy to deal with. They make a nice kit. So we made the kit resemble our Pedal Mafia kit, but just made some variations on the color and then the graphics. And there are no stickers on the legs. Everything is supplemented in the kit. So there's nothing to peel off. You know how some of these kits use them for a while, the letters start peeling. Everything is printed in the fabric. I think that's better. In about probably 2 or 3 miles, about 5K, those deer will be crossing the street. We're heading north, so we're going directly into the wind here. I believe John Mulbrake is pulling. So the way the dynamics of the group work a lot of time is, say there's a rider in third position and he or she's not feeling great and you guys come to like a position, let's say a stop sign or something where the group slows down like this and spreads out, it's not uncommon to have that rider drift to the back or further back in the group, because you get more of the drafting effect the further back you go, especially in a steady ride like this. So the position will change. If you're feeling great or good, go through, get up there and pull your group along. So on this ride, I watched for that because the dynamics are there, and I was like, yeah, I want to do the work today, so I would drift through and go to the front. And you need to do the same thing. You're not feeling great, don't feel like you gotta sit up front in the first, second, or third position, because the draft is better in position 5th or 6th or 7th, so to speak. Find that position that works for you and try to stay in that area so that you can finish the ride with your group, so that they don't have to wait for you. Always try to be economical based on how you're feeling. I'm putting the wrapper under my jersey, under the band. So right in this area, when I was putting the band under, the camera didn't pick it up, but Abby was checking. He was looking to see where's the wheel, are we together, that kind of stuff. That's what you need to do with your group. So Abby was well aware. Now Abby would do all of that, and then certain part of the ride where we're off camera, Laura was pulling into this headwind. So he comes from the back and goes to the front and lifts the pace. I mean, I literally had to yell at him like, come on, man. She was doing great, and we laughed about it later, but it was like, that's how your group breaks up. I guess he was feeling good on that stretch, but maybe he wasn't aware of it or whatever. But he got to the front, and the pace significantly went up. And I saw Laura ride, like we call her Pantani. Laura went lower. When Laura's going low on a hill, she's digging. And I was like, I could feel it in my legs when we were going up, like a 2.5% climb on 149 into the wind. I felt the pace pick up. Yeah, I could maintain it, but why are we going so hard into this monstrous headwind? We're trying to hold the same speeds that we were holding with a cross tailwind almost. Like, why are we going this hard? So I said, back off, man. You come to the front and raise the pace. And so then at the next time he said, well, now you know who your friends are. That's funny. So it's easy to get carried away during a group ride. You gotta pay attention to the dynamics of your group. Always be aware, you're not riding alone. So pay attention to what's going on with the people around you. That's why you come to a group ride, to ride with people. Otherwise, don't go to a group ride, just ride by yourself. So yeah, in a little bit, we're gonna come across the deer. And when you're riding, you gotta be aware. So it's spotted. I believe John is at the front. We spot the deer, they're crossing. They're always crossing a bunch. So when you see one, you gotta look for a couple more at least. And we checked to make sure that was all of them before we proceeded. And they're hurdling a fence coming from the left of the picture to the right. The fence is on the right, and it's at least 3 to 4 feet. It's coming up. Somebody spots them. I believe John spots them. That's why you always got to be paying attention. You know, we're moving here. Right there. You see them go across? The last one flips. I'm going to do a replay. The last one hit the fence.
Nice recovery.
They recovered and joined the herd.
Nice recovery.
That's how I feel.
Laura said that's actually. So yeah, Laura's been battling. Laura's been busy with life, you know. attending family functions and stuff and off the bike. And so then she got a little cold or something from her grandkid. So there's a lot of stuff been going on, and you got to pay attention to all those stresses in your life. They all affect your body. So don't be sick or super busy, then come and hammer yourself. If you can ride, lighten the load there. Use the ride as a therapeutic thing when your life is very hectic. Or sometimes don't ride at all, you know. I primarily ride when I'm anxious to ride. I ride because I want to ride. I don't ride because it's like a job or anything. You know, those of you, all of us work. There's some days where you really don't want to go to work, but you still got to go. You ain't got to pay those bills. You got to buy that new tire or the new wheel or save up for your new bike, you know, all that kind of stuff. And that's another thing. I frequent Reddit and other forums when I'm researching certain things. And I always see this word justify. You don't need to justify anything. All you need to make sure that, let's say, the money you're spending on whatever it is you choose to spend it on does not interfere with something else that is more critical. Like, don't take the money for the light bill and buy a new bike. Don't take the money for the rent, you know, stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. Take the money you would use to go out, say, a happy hour with your friend or your mates. Save that and buy whatever the heck you want. So you don't need to justify it. I don't believe in buying things that don't perform just because they're cheap. I hope that makes sense, because you will end up buying 2 to 3 of them because they probably don't last, they break, and they frustrate you because they don't work. Now, I'm going to state an example. It may not be your experience here, but like, for example, in my shop, I got a Shimano bleed kit, the official bleed kit for Shimano brakes. And let me tell you, I spilled more fluid using that crap than when I got the Park Tool kit. What was causing that? For some reason, the syringes that Shimano chose to use, they get stuck in there, you know, because, you know, you clean them after you use them with the mineral oil. I clean them properly and put them up so they can last. So I'm not buying plastic all the time. But what ended up happening is, for some reason, the Park Tool syringes are smoother. They have a better rubber seal. They have better suction. They're easier to use. Yeah, the BKM1 or whatever they call it is very pricey, but it works for all. It works for Shimano, Tektro, whatever. All the mineral oil stuff. Then they got the BKD for the SRAM and Haze or whatever else. I went ahead and just bought the Park Tool because the Shimano kit frustrated the heck out of me. You'd grab the syringe and wouldn't want to move, like you're playing tag with it. The sucker was just stuck in there. Like, really? The rubber was very brittle. The little seal at the bottom of the syringe in there for the syringe that you pull to create the suction. You'd pull on it, it wouldn't move. Whereas the Park Tool works like butter. You pull on that thing, it's just nice. It comes up, it creates the suction, regardless of how many times you use it. I'm like, you know what? I chucked that crap and just bought the Park Tool.
Good push on.
I sent it back. Got it from Amazon, sent it back, said it was defective. Because I was using it, it was frustrating me. I threw it on the side, I cleaned it up. I have an account with Amazon. I'm gonna call it Prime Business. They don't question anything. I was like, you know what? This thing just didn't work. They refunded my money. So yeah, quit buying stuff that doesn't work. Don't base it on what you pay for it. Whatever it is you pay for it, if it does the job, fine. But if it doesn't, and you've done your research properly, then send it back and get what does the job. Now, the BKM1 is best for people who have shops, because for the price point, it's not something that you should invest in for just one bike. You know, it probably costs 3 times as much as the average stuff, but the fittings are better quality and all that. There's no plastic stuff in there. It's metal fittings where you actually screw into the bleed ports and all that. So those of us who are running a shop, we know to get shop quality stuff. is better. Because you end up fighting with the Shimano syringe to the point where you can knock over your mineral oil if you're not careful. You end up just making more of a mess than anything. I hate making a mess when I'm doing a simple job. That's just more crap to clean up, and that takes time. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, don't buy the cheap stuff. Buy what works for you. If you got to save up, you save up. Save up and get stuff, and then you're done. And go buy something else with the rest of your money. You don't have to keep rebuying inexpensive things. Plus, you never get to experience something nice. Why should you not experience something nice? You deserve it. Sponsor yourself. Get the best you can afford. And don't feel like you got to justify to anybody. Let the other people buy the cheap stuff. They're the one who can go through life experiencing copies. I want the real deal. As I used to say in boxing, the real deal Holyfield, Evander. Those are you boxing fans out there. Get the real stuff. Quit messing around with copies. I'm sitting on Jaworski's wheel, and he's pulling pretty hard. We're going into the wind here. It's like almost 2%. And I sit a little to the left because that's where I find the draft. I'm always looking for the draft, which you should be, because on this course, we're constantly turning, so it was changing. You see Laura moving over to the left now because that wind is blowing from the right. See, so we've got an echelon going here. And he asked, I told him we're going straight. He didn't have the map on his head unit. I told him straight. We check, clear. Very rural out here. You just make sure you're prepared to stop. You don't need to stop, put your foot down. There's nobody out here. It's just you. If a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, doesn't matter. So he gets into a rhythm, and he just continually, he's going faster and faster and faster. So Abby's going to roll to the front. I don't usually bother, except for when Abby pulled into the wind off camera. But Abby rolled to the front. As far as I was concerned, the pace was hard but tolerable. But Abby wanted to slow him down. So when he got up there, Jaworski thought Abby was coming to take over the pole, and so he accelerated. Because they have history together. They were on a ride. What they told us about, Jaworski told us about. There you go. So Abby goes up there, and then Jaworski speeds up. So you want to go faster? Because they've raced each other before. Jaworski takes time. I told Laura, don't wait till it's just back off. So I'm just going to keep our pace, and we're going to ride up. We're going to maintain the trade. So I didn't come to pass you. But they have history. That's why Paul, somebody's laughing. Here's Paul that's laughing. So I'll go ahead and settle into a groove. And I'm like, okay, we're going to just get the train going, and they can get back to the back. He can go back and sit in the back. So we keep the same speed, 22, 23 here. The wind is really kicking up. So we go back, the car back. And then we go ahead and close it. I move more over to the right. The wind's coming from the right anyway, so Laura's sitting a little on my left. So I move as close as possible to the edge of the road so that she can still have some kind of a draft. So you're riding for the rider behind. Always be aware. I'm always looking. I look down. I don't necessarily turn my head to look behind. By looking down, I can see where the wheel is. I'm always conscious of the closest rider to me, where he or she is. So as I move, it's very gradual, so they don't have to react. They can just kind of, it's like we're moving concert. See that I'm drifting to the left, she just drifts with me. That's the way you guys should move together, like in tandem, so to speak. As a result, the rider will get comfortable following you when you ride predictably like that. They can relax, knowing you're not going to do anything sudden. This area is heading towards Field Store, I believe. It's called Field Store, an area called Field Store.
So you're not hanging by the skin
Yeah,
of
one
your
field
teeth,
store
right?
road.
You're not hanging by the skin of your teeth. Ah, babe.
He's messing with Paul. He says, so you're not hanging by the skin of your teeth. I think this is Joseph Road. This road is called Joseph. It will take us to Field Store Road. But this road is like this all the time. If you can get out here during the week, this is a nice training area. Especially mid-morning, everybody's gone to work. Nothing's out here. I get a lot of requests through the shop to take people out and show them these routes. That involved a lot of time. So of course I charge for that as a service. Some people are willing to pay. Some people expect to get it for free. You want it for free, go to a group ride and then save the route. If you have a Garmin, it will save the route. If you have Strava, the route's there. So then you can use that as a way to find out where to ride. But to come and have somebody personally take you out and think that's supposed to be free, I've had some customers ask for that. I'm like, no, you need to go sign up on the website. Then we can do that. Got too much going on, you know. So we turn, I think we're going north. Yeah, kind of still northwesterly, mostly north. The wind is really high here. You can see the speed dropped. I'm not fighting the 800-pound gorilla. I'm keeping the effort the same. That's what you need to get a feel for what they call the rate of perceived exertion, RPE. You got to get an idea of, okay, how hard do I feel like I'm working? It's not just numbers. So I don't look at, oh, it's 30 kilometers an hour or whatever. I just like, I'm going to do this pace. Because the group is small, I'm going to stay up there for a bit. That's John Malbrecht, a.k.a. Clement Champusson. From the Arkea Semsic team. I think he's changed teams this year. I'm going to have to look him up and see what team Clement Champusson is on for 2025. So I steer to the right because the wind is blowing from the right and in our face. You see where Laura is? That's where the draft is. And I try to stay as smooth as I can. I'm in my sweet spot area, which is good work. You have to ride at a pace that you can recover from quickly and come back to be able to help the group. That's why if somebody changes the pace or attacks you, if you stay in this zone, don't feel obligated to come back and help them, because if they change the pace dramatically to where you have to dig into your reserves, don't feel like that you have to do that. You have to think, okay, how far along in the ride are we? As you can see, we're almost halfway. We got a long way to go. I stand to keep that gear rolling. This road is false flat. We're going to be turning left. We're coming to 1488, way west. Close to an area called Field Store. And right out here is rural. So 1488 is very narrow. It's 2 lanes. It's all clear. I'll let everybody know it's all clear. This is 1488 west, close to Field Store, west of Magnolia, Texas. So if you look at the map on the left, we're way out of town. So on the weekends, you got to get out of town. This is the kind of riding I love. No lights, no congestion. And this is what the World Tour riders do. They go to places that are rural. They stay out of town, whether it's the altitude camp or whatever. And they want to just ride a lot of kilometers without having to stop. They don't train in town. There's no training going on in town when you're dealing with cars pulling in and out of shopping centers and stops and all that kind of stuff. You can see my effort. I'm still between 155 to 165. I'm still there. I'm not looking at that. It's just feel. I'm riding at a pace I can do most of the day. it's above endurance, but I'm not at threshold. I'm below threshold. We're going to be turning. We're getting off this highway. There's a road called 362. It's narrow, faster traffic, but infrequent traffic. And we're going to turn into the wind. We're going north. You'll see that yellow arrow on the right go up. It's still northwesterly, but it's going to go more north in a little bit. And the wind hits us. And the wind is coming from straight on and from the right. So you see Laura is sitting a little to the left. And I'm going to do my best to stay as far to the right as I can. And I keep my cadence high so my legs don't tighten up. Paul's going to drift further to the back. It's Abby. And Dan Jaworski. Dan be riding fast, and he's not even aware he's riding fast. At the end of the ride, Dan and I were talking at a light because we're going back home, and we go through the light, and all of a sudden we're doing 35K. I'm like, whoa. You know, I was ready to kind of chill because my last hour I kind of want to spin down. So I rode with him until we got to his turn. Like, he was worried he was going that fast. But he was doing the group speed. And we know we were still chatting, but now I just slipped on his wheel. I'm like, I'm not going to work that hard. You see my cadence is up because of that wind. I keep my cadence high so my legs can process the lactate easier. You can see the road going up a little bit. I think this is where the truck's gonna come behind and blow, and Abby will wave at him. Yeah, so in a little while, right before he passes. He waits until it's safe to pass, but he blows at him. It's kind of loud. I mean, he's got, you know, those trucks have loud horns. I like all that noise. But the wind is blowing. I am not. It's not like I'm not trying. You see my heart rate going up 160, 161. I'm staying in the same zone because I am not going to kill myself into this wind. So a lot of people will avoid the wind. Oh, it's going to be windy when I'm coming back. If you pace yourself, yeah, coming back, you're going to have to go at a slower speed. But it doesn't change the effort that you want to do. The wind is actually really good because the wind is nature's resistance. And so you can use the wind to get a hard workout if that's your plan for that day. But if it's not your plan, then you just use the appropriate gearing into the wind to stay in the zone that you plan to stay in. You're just going to travel slower. You know, it might take you 2 hours to do 30 kilometers on your easy day going into the wind. That's how you plan. So people complain, oh, it's windy as well. As long as it's not gusting to where it's unsafe, I don't mind the wind. In fact, in the summer, I welcome the wind because it cools you off a bit. You know, that hot southeasterly wind. But this is how you keep your group together. You all have to ride cohesively and not act like you're at war. You know, let the people that want to show up go to the USCF races. So depending on the makeup of our group, another thing I do is when people start changing the pace too much, I don't help them. I've literally told them at the start of a ride. I just sit on the wheels. And then when they're done and I take over, I bring the pace back down to the group pace. If they don't like it, they can come back to the front. See how long they sit up there at that effort. We're doing about 18 miles an hour into a headwind. And that is a headwind that's blowing. I can't take my hands off the bar safely. It's blowing that much. It's coming from directly in front and from the right, northeasterly. That's where it's blowing. You see, we're going north. We're going directly into it. The pace picked up a little bit. I think the road, let's see, yeah, -0.8. So the road leveled off. And those are the things you need to be in tune with when you're riding. That's why I pay attention when I'm riding, even by myself. You gotta know what the terrain is doing. So you basically enjoy your environment instead of trying to hold some predetermined speed. I don't ride by speed, I ride by effort. effort and time. You have an hour, you have an hour. You go out and do what you got to do. Go on with the rest of the day.
Car back.
You notice the whole time my cadence is in the upper 90s. Try to stay near 100 RPM. Very windy. It's easier on you. Your legs work differently at higher cadences than the lower ones. So once you get something to eat.
You know, it's funny, a guy was riding this one week. He was probably on a road on his wife. Yeah. I used those new bottles, little canister, and you're supposed to put those tablets in water. And you saw, I put jelly beans in there. It made it easier to. Yeah. And you saw that. I thought I would take those new tablets without water.
He's talking about putting the salt tablets in a bottle. Yeah, this wind is brutal. You know, I'm not doing 18 miles an hour by choice. I'm just doing the effort, keeping the same group effort. The wind is slowing us down. I'm going to pull off in a little bit, I believe. I'm going to pull off on the right because the wind is coming from the right. So I'm going to pull off on the right into the wind so that the group is sheltered as it goes by. That's how you determine how to pull off. Pull off into the wind. Right there, I pull off. I'm riding on that tiny shoulder so the group can come back. So it does not change anything they're doing. Always pull off into the wind if you can. I mean, if it's busy and the wind is coming from the traffic side, then you wait till it's clear. And I'm going to get in front of Paul here to speed up.
Red pull, my brother. Yeah.
I'm talking to that wind. It's like, so I'm trying to recover now. I had to work, get on the wheels, lift up, slow down a little bit when I pulled off, and then I revved it up. Don't stop. Just when you don't slow down too much, so you don't have to rev up. It will take a few pedal strokes for me to settle back down. And when Laura took over, she continued the pace as if to say the train never stopped. That's group pacing. Hear the wind, and I dubbed the thing. I mean, this sucker was blowing. I mean, it was blowing to the point where when we were coming south, we were cruising at 27 miles an hour coming to the second stop on 1774 without a whole lot of effort having to be dished out. So we're going into the wind. Even Paul's going to mention that Laura shouldn't be doing all this pulling, something like that. I think she's feeling better here. And that's the way you have to ride. When you feel fine, help your group. If not, sit in, because don't put yourself in the position where your group will have to wait for you. I'm standing periodically because after that long pull, it just felt good. I didn't want to change my rhythm too much by downshifting. Yeah, he said because Laura is not 100%. She's not well, still recovering. But I think she feels fine. Paul is concerned. You know, Laura's ridden with us for many years, so we always look out for her. We always look out for all the riders that are close to us. He said she's not in a position to be doing all this pulling. I think she felt better. There's a car back there I wanted to pass. I did that because I could see around the curve and it's clear. There's nothing out here. Let them go by. That's the way you have to ride. You have to ride with the other roadies so they're not the enemy. Be aware of them. Don't block people unnecessarily. Let them go on with about their business. And you go on riding your bike. When I stopped pedaling there because when I stood up, my bike moved really fast forward and then they slowed down. So I stopped pedaling for that moment to not come up on Jaworski's rear wheel. Something changed in the dynamics there. Laura is going to pull for quite a while until we turn onto, we're going to turn off of this highway. I believe that the road is called Decker Prairie or something like that. We'll turn off. But you know, I don't know if you're planning on putting a group together or you ride with a group that may be having some challenges because this stuff happens everywhere. But this is how your group should be. You see, we're in a line, we're together, we're riding like a train. It's regardless of the pacing of your group. If you're riding like this, you all are more predictable. It's easier for cars to come around you because you guys are operating as a unit. All that stuff that's helter-skelter, people attacking and this and that, yeah, nice to do in a race, but when you're in a group ride, it's not called for. Look at this group. This is the way it's supposed to be. As I said, car back would move a little over to the right, not off the road. The road goes up here. I think I stand. It's a slight grade. Just felt good to stand and keep the gear rolling. So you definitely want to start with always working on your fit. If it doesn't feel right, you got to get. If you need to get help, get help. But perfect your fit so that you don't hesitate to stand because you're worried about losing the spot that you found on the saddle after many kilometers of searching for it. When you stand and sit, your saddle should be right where it should be. And if it's not, that means your foreaft or your saddle height or your cleats are off. That's why people always say review your fit. So I don't know what you did this weekend, but this is part of what we did on Saturday. Remember, get your K's in and keep all the doctors fired. And let's build those groups. That's the trucker I was talking about. He blew Abby told him to wait, I think, and yeah, because his car was coming. And then Abby's gonna wave him on. He's gonna blow as he comes by. There he is. He's about ready to pass. He was letting us know. He's gonna blow as he goes by. And Abby's waving. And that's the way it's supposed to. I mean, we're all supposed to get along, you know. There's no point for all this strife. It's one planet, one race. Be safe out there and enjoy those kilometers.